I was around like 10 as well when I started questioning if I was bi, and then since then it was kind of like a slippery slope because I was like, am I bi, omni, lesbian, and then I kind of like came to the point, and then now recently I've been like, am I pan? But then I think now I'm starting to realize that I'm queer.
These meat emojis that you see on the screen right now are offensive to trillions of vegans, myself included.
I feel like it wouldn't be unreasonable to ask a white millionaire that made their fortune through probably corruption to house some immigrants.
I did a brand deal for tampons.
I personally would not be willing to let a bunch of people stay in my studio apartment.
Day 61 of being a girl.
What do you think?
What's your name?
My name's Blair.
Blair. What are your pronouns?
She and her.
Hey Blair. Hey Blair.
You still identify as a baby or a toddler, that's totally okay.
I've gone back to being a child. I don't want to be an adult right now.
If you really want to prove to Black people that you love us and you care about us, you buy your ticket, you give it to a Black person or a Black family who can't afford to go. And then you go sit at that theater in front of the doors.
All hail Black women.
This little cutie is my son Bennett. As you can see, my son is a white male, so here are some books that I bought to help prevent him from growing up to be.
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic.
Do you identify as Black? No, it's a serious question. Can you please put the mic? Thank you.
Happy International Women's Day. Do not talk to men today. Do not look at men today.
Dead bodies of animals are not food. This is the emoji I'm talking about right here, the meat emoji. Apple, ban it.
Wow. There are so many words I want to use right now, but unfortunately, I'm currently being targeted heavily behind the scenes here, so I have to keep things absolutely pristine, and I'll expand more on this in another video when everything is sorted. But for now, let's just focus on the wokeness in all of its magnificent glory.
The earth looks flat. It is not. I look like a man. I'm not one.
That I have been misgendered so much more than usual.
White women love Black men because of the power dynamic, because white women have never had any power over men in their lives. So white women have whiteness over Black men.
Is Merrin. She fell in love with James.
I'm a masculine presenting plumber.
And I'm a feminine presenting straight man.
Today I'm going to show you how to use rats pronouns, excess pronouns. Today I'm going to show you how to use zombies pronouns, spores pronouns, camels pronouns, and sentences.
If you are a man, the greatest gift you can give a woman today on International Women's Day is silence.
Yes, silence. That's really the key word here, isn't it? Since it's basically all that matters, because it's not about acceptance or protecting certain individuals, it is simply about forcing you to agree with certain ideas, and if you don't, since, you have a brain and you can see that these things are absolutely crazy.
Because now she's dating a Black man, so she's got to be a little transphobic, right? Because you know what Black man brings. If Adele was with a white guy, it would not happen.
Nah.
Yeah, like that for instance. Then saying anything about this will get you into serious trouble, and they will try to silence you.
You addressed the class, didn't you? You said, well done, girls.
It was a small working group, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just a small working group. The head teacher addressed me, and he there's an investigation that's going to take place.
Now you can learn a lot from history by just looking at which group tried to prevent other groups from thinking. Spoiler alert, it's usually not the good guys that try to do this. And to make matters worse, it's not as if they have great arguments or even just basic logic on their side.
So happy to have transitioned from British to Korean. I'm now going to be identical to Jimin, even more identical than I already was, so...
Right. So if you agree that this whole identifying thing has gone way too far and that we now are simply sacrificing common sense just so we can be woke, then please drop a like on the video and comment down below what you think, since it's mostly just based on emotions and feelings that they want to get validated.
And matter more than potential babies.
What is it?
What do you mean?
If it's a potential baby, what is inside of a woman?
It's a fetus.
Is it living?
No.
How can it grow if it's not living? When does the fetus become living?
You see, that mean lady over here just used evil magic, also known as logic and science, to upset this perfectly rational activist that was not driven by emotion at all. And if you just look past, the lack of logic or any coherent thoughts, then the activist actually made perfect sense.
You're fundamentally denying science to validate your opinion.
You actively deny science, ma'am.
How am I denying? What science did I deny, Darby?
Okay, so let's look at some posters over here.
But
you don't have to be here.
I need you to tell me what science. You just made an accusation that I denied science. What science did I deny?
Now, most of these guys believe that logic and science are somehow rigged against them.
So the culture of how we do science in the Western world was shaped by white men. As a black woman who's a scientist, my question is, what parts of science culture are necessary to doing good science?
How about the science part? Maybe just focus on that, right? Because if you calculate the angle of this triangle right here, that really has nothing to do with what skin color you have or what your beliefs are. But hey, that's just my crazy opinion. Now, I would never tell people what they can't or can believe. You can make up whatever you like. All I'm saying is that it doesn't make it true. You can identify as a bird all day long. That's not gonna make you fly, now is it?
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
Now, some people would argue, but what's the harm? If it makes them happy, why not just humor them? It costs nothing, right? Well, to that I say, do whatever you like, believe whatever you want to believe. However, why do I have to participate in your madness? Because at that point, you go from living in your own make-believe world to forcing me to join you and acknowledge that what you are saying is true, even when it's not. That is not something I'm willing to do, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people think the same way. This type of making people believe something or use words that do not align with reality really makes you wonder what's the point of knowledge anymore, or even teaching something as basic as the English language. I mean, does spelling and grammar really matter when a large part of society are happy to go along with this type of propaganda?
Here's a gender inclusive tip. Instead of referring to someone's sex at birth as biologically male or biologically female, instead use assigned male at birth or assigned female at birth.
My room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during because it made me uncomfortable. My kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I gotta find it. In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
English teachers will lose their minds if you incorrectly use the words there, and there, while at the same time completely ignoring centuries of medical science, basic biology, and simply common sense.
So God, the reason why I use it is because as a gender person, I don't have a gender. So it's like I'm existing and I'm not existing at the same time. God, right?
So yeah, that's the kind of clown world we currently live in. But you know what? In the past, I really wouldn't have cared this much about that, because people saying weird and crazy stuff is nothing new, and normally you would just laugh it off. However, what you can't laugh off are the massive consequences that this is having.
Clearly what he was doing to me, whether you like it or think or not, someone then, this veteran who's chosen to remain anonymous, reposted it and then had several visits from police officers saying that he couldn't do this because he'd caused anxiety to someone who had complained. Subjective anxiety caused to someone now gets you arrested.
This constant need of telling people how to live, what to eat, how to breathe or think is truly disgusting, and it's sad to see society go down this path. We are living in an entitlement nightmare where people simply want to be handed whatever they like without any merit and not even able to adequately argue for why this should be the case. Now, the problem with entertaining these ideas and giving into this behavior is that you are basically opening Pandora's box. I mean, there's a reason why you can't impersonate a cop or shout fire in a building for no reason. Even the most diehard free speech advocates support this. However, in this new age of simply claim whatever you like and making others play along with that, you are leaving the door wide open for a whole host of problems that are obviously going to be utilized by anyone looking for a loophole.
You still identify as a baby or a toddler, that's totally okay.
I've gone back to being a child.
I mean, you can't possibly think that allowing people to identify as a young person is not going to lead to several issues. I obviously can't go into detail here, but it's not hard to imagine how this could go terribly, terribly wrong. Next to this, we have the very strong overcorrection when it comes to accepting people from all walks of life that we see in clips like this.
If you really want to prove to Black people that you love us and you care about us and you are down for the cause, do not go see that movie opening weekend. You buy your ticket, you give it to a Black person or a Black family who can't afford to go, and then you go sit at that theater in front of the doors.
Now, a few years ago, you would think that these were just jokes of people trying to be sarcastic, but today, you know that these people are actually serious and they are standing behind these statements. They actually see this as helpful solutions, but in reality, it only makes things a lot worse by alienating people. This whole ecosystem of just make up whatever nonsense you want and just silence the people that disagree with that leads to more and more crazy statements like these.
I'm gonna prove to you why white people are the reason I'm fat today.
I mean, talk about zero accountability. This person literally traveled back in time several centuries just to find a reason for why she is fat today.
If white people didn't go looking for spices, then various sea routes to Indian subcontinent and Africa and other places of the world would not get discovered. And if they didn't come, then the fertility of the land would not get destroyed.
That is insane, and it shows the very obvious, which is that society is constantly looking for an excuse for why things are not going their way. It's not that you don't want to exercise properly and maintain a well-balanced food intake. No, it's clearly something from 200 years ago which is keeping you fat right now. It's just unbelievable, man. And when you run out of silly excuses to blame for your own failures, then you try to be as deep as you possibly can, as if you are channeling Plato himself.
When I'm talking about the distinction between existing and living, I'm also talking about the distinction between what ought and what is. So many are living in the realm of ought.
Now, you can't just say something incoherent, then pause and hope that people think it's deep. Oh wait, in today's clown world you actually can. Now, people try to make it as complicated as possible when they talk about these things, since there is no logical basis for it and any simple explanation falls apart in seconds. However, the real problem here is that in today's society, it is slowly being turned into law. This was part 1 of a dive into wokeness. Please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos.
Who and what are the enemies of freedom here in the United States?
Well, I don't think you can say who in the United States. I don't think there are any sinister persons deliberately trying to rob people of their freedom. But I do think, first of all, that there are a number of impersonal forces which are pushing in the direction of less and less freedom.